Is Lily of Zombieland Saga transgender? Well, first, Zombieland Saga is an anime. Like many these days, it's about an idol group based in Saga Prefecture of Japan. Um, the hitch with this one is that they're all zombies. Uh, in this picture, they're wearing makeup to cover up their weird blue skin, but you notice one of them's head is still alive and eating, even though not attached to the body. So that's the trick. Word of God and TLDR is that yes, she is transgender. The creator of the show, an official Twitter connected with the creation of the show, says she's transgender, and that should be it. But people still want to argue with it that she's a trap, one who only occasionally dresses in a cross-gender way with the intent to fool others. That's what a trap means. And there's some people who think that pretty much all transgender people are either are trapping or are trying to trap others, which is wrong and bigoted, and there's no other way to see that. So this is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual used by psychologists definition of gender identity disorder in children. Uh, they need to have at least 6 of these criteria, and let's look at them. Uh, a strong dislike of one's sexual anatomy, check. She doesn't just not want to be kind of big like her dad with an extremely small head, but she does not want to have the secondary or primary sex characteristics of her gender. In fact, she had a heart attack when she saw hair growing out of her chin. Persistent desire to be of or stating one is the other gender. Stating that they have a female name uh, and they are that name is that. Strong preference for wearing clothes typical of the opposite gender. Well, that pretty much covers every single character that anime fans in the West would describe as a trap, um, which is, again, not a good word to use. Strong preference for cross-gender roles in play. A strong preference for activities stereotypically used by the other gender. Well, here she is, an undead zombie, free to do whatever she wants, and she chooses to live that way. Well, there you go. And she was that way as a living person as well. So other characters that are sometimes called traps. So in teens and adults, GID means you have at least 2 of these things going on. So a serious mismatch between one's experience or expressed gender and primary secondary sex characteristics, desire to be rid of them, strong desire for the sex characteristics of the other gender, a strong desire to be the other gender, a strong desire to be treated as the other gender, and a strong conviction that one has typical feelings of that gender. In anime with teen and adult characters, the clearest way to see that is how they dress, and beyond how they dress, how they act. If you're talking about a teenager who's supposed to be in school and they go to school dressed like that means that either they had their family's help, in the case of like Hibari here, to game the system and get into school without registered as a girl, or in some later series, if you see a character wearing the official girls' uniform of that school with the approval of the school's faculty in Japan, that's a thing that actually does and has happened. If the kid had the diagnosis of gender identity disorder, it implies that they are transgender, at least in the psychological, technical sense of the word. That's what transgender means. And if you see that kid eventually thanking God for their magical sex change, or in the case of the one on the uh, right side of your screen, in the novel that goes with that particular anime, eventually having a medical operation, at least in some alternate future or something like that, that pretty much means they're transgender. Um, I can't imagine how much more you could wallop someone over the head with this before they get it. Um, Conclusion: Lily meets the criteria of diagnostic and of diagnosing a gender identity disorder in childhood. Therefore, she is transgender, and therefore, calling her a trap would be a slur. You're still free to use slurs, and we're free to think you're an asshole, and we'll just have to agree to disagree about that.